I'm going to be replenishing my supply of homemade cream of celery soup, and I thought I'd bring you along. Now, I try to keep a stash of cream of celery soup at all times in my freezer. I do can, but that's something you cannot can because it has dairy products in it. So I do freeze it, but I keep it on hand because I use it a ton of different ways. We like to eat it on its own. It's delicious that way, but I also use it in casseroles. I use it to make chicken and noodles, tuna and noodles, lots of different ways, and you can use it as a thickener for different recipes, and it's very versatile. So I always keep some on hand, and I am currently out, so I thought I'd bring you along and show you how I do it. Okay, you won't get to see me, but you'll get to see what's important, which is the soup. Alright, I've heated up my pan, and to my pan I'm going to add 1 stick of butter. And I have my heat on a medium heat. And we're going to give that a second to melt a little bit. This is one of those enameled cast iron pots. I absolutely love it. My husband bought it for me, and it is one of my favorite pots for making soups and stews and that kind of thing. Okay, to my melted butter, I'm going to add 4 cups of chopped celery. Now, I chop the tops as well as the actual stalk. The leaves have a ton of flavor, so it's good to use those. Also, I wanted to mention that if you've never made your own stock, chicken stock or vegetable stock, celery is a wonderful thing to flavor your stock. So whenever I make this, I always save the tops and the bottoms, washed of course, put them in the freezer until I'm ready to make my stock, and then I just add it to my stock pot, and it adds tons and tons of flavor, so nothing's wasted, which is really great. I love that. Alright, I'm going to turn my heat up just a little bit more, and to the 1/2 cup of butter and the 4 cups of celery, I'm going to add 1 very large sweet onion. And it's nicely chopped as well. And you can chop things as chunky or as finely as you want. And honestly, this soup is really about your own preference as far as flavor goes. You can add more or less. You don't have to add the exact amounts that I'm adding. And we're going to let this cook down and saute for probably about 15 minutes, and then I'll bring you back. Okay guys, the onion and celery mixture has been sauteing and cooking down for about 20 minutes. So as you can see, the onions are starting to get translucent and the celery is getting soft. I did want to mention that I did add a couple of teaspoons of salt while I was doing this part of it. So you might want to do that as well, but that's entirely up to you. The salt does help bring out the moisture in the vegetables and help soften them. So now we're going to add what was 3 very large cloves of garlic. Again, this is to taste. We love garlic, so I added 3 really big cloves. I would say it's a good 2 tablespoons of chopped garlic. Let's stir that in. And then I'm going to add 6 cups of chicken stock. Now, this is stock that I made and canned, but you can certainly use whatever kind of stock that you like. However, I do recommend, of course, that you try making your own stock. It is not hard, and it is so delicious, and it's so much better for you than anything you can buy in the grocery store. So I'll be doing a video on that, and there are a million other videos online of how people do that. It is not hard at all, and it is absolutely delicious. Like I said, save your celery ends. You can save onion scraps, potato skins. You can save carrot peelings. anything like that you can use to make stock. And like I said, what I do is I just keep it in a Ziploc bag in the freezer until I'm ready to make my stock. Anyway, we'll go over that in another video. While this is coming up to a boil, I want this to come up to a boil, I'm going to take, hopefully you can see, this is 2 cups of flour, and to the 2 cups of flour I'm going to add 4 cups of milk. And we're just going to dissolve the flour in cold milk. Two cups of flour, 4 cups of milk. And I'm just going to use a whisk to dissolve that down. And then once my soup, the celery and onion and garlic and the chicken stock come up to a boil, we're going to add this mixture. So I'll bring you back at that point. Okay, our chicken stock, celery, onion, garlic has all been simmering, boiling really well for about 5 minutes. So now we're going to add the milk and flour mixture to thicken it up and make it nice and creamy. So you want to make sure it's at a good boil before you do that. And make sure your flour is dissolved in your milk. Now it's going to get all nice and thick and creamy. I'm going to turn my heat down just a little bit. Okay, if it's too thick, which in this case it looks like it's going to be, you can add more milk. So that's what I'm going to do. A lot of it is to what texture you like. That definitely was too thick. You could also add more chicken stock if you want. This is better. I would say I probably added another cup of milk, so instead of 4 cups, I might want to make it 5. Last time I made this, 4 cups worked, so I don't know, things change sometimes. And that's what cooking's all about, is adapting and overcoming and trying not to make a mess. Okay, the other thing I'm going to do at this point is add about a tablespoon of seasoned salt. Now you can add whatever seasonings you like here. You could just add plain salt, you could add salt and pepper. Italian seasoning is a nice versatile seasoning to use in a lot of different dishes, and it would work well here. Just whatever you like. Alright, so I'm going to give it a taste. It's really good. I'm going to add a little bit of pepper. And if this is too thick for you or thicker than you would like, because it will thicken up some also when you freeze it, you can add more milk. Now I'm being a messy cook today. But for me, this is good because you can always add more milk when you're reheating it also. So keep that in mind when you're going with texture. But if you're writing down the recipe, instead of using 4 cups of milk, use closer to 5. Now, here's another thing that is completely optional. Depending on how creamy you want, I don't mind it being chunky because some people like it creamier. So I'm going to show you how to use, you can use a handheld blender or you can put it in a blender in portions and just make it a little smoother. Break down some of your celery and onions a little more. Technically, they don't recommend using an immersion blender with your enameled cast iron skillet, but I'm just careful. So just be careful if you do that. And then it's a little bit smoother texture. You could take it even farther and make it smoother, but actually this is pretty good for me. I like a little bit of texture in there. I like to be able to see the celery and the onions. So I'm going to give this one more taste. I think we're good. That's it for cream of celery soup. I'm going to let this lightly simmer for about 5 minutes just to make sure all of my flavors come together, and then I'm going to let it completely cool, and I'm going to put mine in freezer bags. Now there are lots of different options for freezing containers that are freezer safe, so choose whatever you like. I prefer the freezer bags because you can lay them flat and they take up less space in your freezer than, say, a canning jar. You can freeze in canning jars, they're freezer safe. And then there are different plastic containers you can use, but the freezer bags I really like because they just, it's space saving for me. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for spending some of your time with me today. If you have questions or comments, please feel free to do so in the comment section. If you enjoyed coming along with me today, please like and subscribe to my channel. Have some more fun videos coming up that I hope you'll enjoy, and I hope you go out and have a great day today. Thank you. Bye-bye.